Hello, hi everyone. Today for episode 2, we're going to be talking about exchange rates, arbitrage, and the law of one price. So the interesting thing about talking about exchange rates and arbitrage and law of one price is first we have to address that there's a market for money, which is kind of an interesting concept. So there's actually over 5 trillion in American dollars exchanged every day. That's a huge number. It's way larger than what's exchanged on the stock market. So an exchange rate, just to lay out some foundational principles, is the worth of one currency in terms of another. So for example, $1 currently will buy you roughly about 0.89 of a euro, or 89 cents. So to put this into perspective, we'll tell a little story. We'll have an example of Hans from Germany. So say Hans, a German man, wants $100 in US dollars. He's going to need to pay 89 euros in an exchange. So the math behind that, we'll just put it out here pretty simple. We're going to have exchange rate, 1 US is equal to 0.89 euro. And so the desired amount, we want 100 US dollars. And then we're going to solve for x. It's pretty simple, cross multiply. €89. So really there's 3 main reasons why someone would want to exchange their money. Now that we've discussed what an exchange rate is, what that looks like mathematically. So back to our story of Hans. Let's say Hans in Germany wants to plan a vacation in New York City, has some time off. So if he's going to do this, he's going to need to buy American dollars so he can pay for his hotel, his food, maybe pick up some souvenirs for his family, and that requires that his money's different. But the interesting thing about this concept is there's something called the law of one price. Now the law of one price dictates that in free market conditions, in the long run, Hans doesn't have an incentive to come to America and buy a lot of goods, take them back and resell them in Germany if those goods are already produced in Germany. So that's one of the advantages of free trade, is that the market price across the world is going to become very stable and uniform and low due to competition. Now to explain the next 2 reasons why someone might want to exchange their money, we're going to turn the time over to Connor. All right, first up, let's take care of this hideous drawing. There's a reason why Connor's an econ major and not an art major. So we're going to erase some of this. The second reason someone might want to exchange their currency is perhaps they want to invest in America. So say Hans has 10,000 euros that he can play around with. So he wants to invest maybe in the New York Stock Exchange in an up-and-coming American company. So we're going to leave New York on the map and do some math over here. So again, we're going to set up the same kind of tables we did earlier to cross multiply. So dollar US equal to 0.89 of a euro. We have 10,000. We want to know what we're going to get for X. So pretty simple, 10,000. So what we're going to end up being able to invest in the New York Stock Exchange is going to be equivalent to, and I already ran the numbers earlier, 11,235 and roughly 96 cents. So that's the second reason. And maybe he can gain a lot of money doing this. There's a lot of advantages to be able to change your currency back and forth as far as investment goes. Now to explain the third and final reason why someone might want to exchange their money, I'm going to turn the time back over to my associate, Connor. Thank you. All right, thanks Connor for dissing me on my artwork. Next we're going to talk about the third and final reason someone might want to exchange their currency, and that's this concept of arbitrage. Now to put this into perspective, I'll finish the deed of erasing my bad geography. We're going to talk about exchange rates as they change, because most exchange rates are not fixed. In some cases, governments will step in and we'll have a set price, or a peg price is what we call it. But most of the time, we have something called a floating price, which is where the market decides what the money is worth. Supply and demand, things change. the market evolves. So currently, we have this rate, $1 US equals 0.89 over euro. But say this changes, or say Hans thinks it's going to change. So say he believes that the US dollar is going to appreciate, or it's going to rise in value against the euro. So maybe the new rate, projected rate, is $1 US is equal to 0.95 over euro. Now this could be caused by lots of different reasons. There could be destruction of capital in one of the countries, there could be a war, there could be, who knows? I mean, the market's subject to so many forces, but we do know that rates do change. So Hans, for whatever reasons, believes that there's going to be this shift, so what he does is he's going to buy now at this price. He's going to buy lots and lots and lots and lots, and then hopefully he's correct and the price rises. Now he's paid 0.89 per US dollar, but he can sell at 0.95 at a profit. Now it's called arbitrage, which is the idea of buying low, selling high. Another way of putting it that I learned that I like is to hold and to hope. So you assess the conditions of the market, you make your predictions, your projections, and you buy at what you think is low and you sell when you know it's high. That's arbitrage. All right, Connor, get out of here. Let me finish up. I want to explain the 3 reasons why someone might want to actually complete this trade with Hans. Because you might be wondering, what's the incentive? We've talked about how Hans can gain from trading his euros for dollars. Why would anyone want to trade their dollars for euros? Now, the reason is pretty simple. It's for the exact same reasons that Hans wants to trade. So say someone with American dollars who's going to trade with Hans wants to go on a trip to Germany. They're going to need euros to buy their lodging and their food and their souvenirs, just as Hans needed dollars. Maybe they want to invest, just as Hans did. They're going to need euros for that. And it doesn't matter really what the exchange rate is, so there's always going to be demand for an exchange for those reasons, because people take trips and people want to invest. Now, as far as arbitrage is concerned, that's kind of interesting. So what happens in this case, why there's an incentive the other way, is perhaps Hans is wrong. So in this case, Hans bought US dollars at this rate, 89 cents, with the hopes that the price would rise and he could sell for 95 cents. But maybe Hans is wrong, and what's actually going to happen is we're going to have an exchange rate like this. 1 US dollar, and it depreciates, and we end up so. In which case, there's profit to be made the other way around. So those are the incentives on both sides, and those are the concepts of the market for money and currency, exchange rates, law of one price, and arbitrage. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you continue to tune into the e-Connor, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.